Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Market Review, where we bring you key developments in the financial and capital market as it relates to the economy. Today, we'll be looking at the federal government partnering with stockbrokers to deepen the capital market. Very, very important at this time. And we meet to have this interesting conversation is Mr. Olatunde Amolegbe. He's the president of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, Nigeria's foremost institute for training and equipping the brokers, or you can call them dealing members, across the markets. Nice to have you once again after a long while, Mr. Amolegbe.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And before we begin, let's take a review of what happened last week in the capital market. Some of the key stories: the Central Securities Clearance Systems PLC announced a new price structure for the market. This will cover various services which took effect last week. That's Wednesday, 1st of September 2021. To get further updates on those prices and the variations, log on to our website www.proshareeng.com. Also, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Exchange Limited, Mr. Temi Popola, CFA, at a recent webinar said the exchange will continue to provide an efficient and liquid market for investors and businesses in Africa to serve and also assess ethical and sustainable development goals, capital, and investments. He was speaking at discussions around deepening the Sukuk and green bonds market space. We'll take a break, and when we return, we'll go on to this conversation.
The ProShare mobile app, your non-stop access to financial and economic information. With the ProShare app, you can customize your preferred news and videos. You can also get access to latest financial and economic news. Watch videos related to business, economy, financial markets, and lots more. The ProShare app gives you in-depth market stats from the NSE, FMDQ, and NASD. That's not all. You also get real-time alerts. The ProShare mobile app. Information at your pace and in your space.
Welcome back. If you're joining us, you're on to the Market Review program, where we bring you key developments in the financial and capital markets related to the economy, and we're discussing federal government partnering with stockbrokers to deepen the capital market. Our guest is Mr. Olatunde Amolegbe. He's the president of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers. Now, Mr. Amolegbe, let's first begin. Last month, you had your workshop in Abuja, and it was an opportunity to partner and discuss with governments, policymakers, business leaders, and other various top organizations on ways to deepen and improve the market. We'd just like you to speak to how the various tiers of government can really utilize the market to raise funds for development projects at a time like this, when revenues may be facing challenges. We know the federal government does a lot, but also other tiers, some subnationals are doing, but generally, how can they utilize the market?
Thank you very much for that question. It's clear that the need to grow infrastructure in the country in order to aid economic development is a need that goes across all stratas of government, be it local, be it state, be it federal. It's the infrastructure shortage is a nationwide emergency. Now, you typically shouldn't finance infrastructure using short-term financing from the money market. You want to ensure, because these are projects that will typically have long gestation periods anyway. So you need financing that are longer term in nature. Those sort of financings typically comes from the capital markets. And the truth of the matter is that in the past, it used to be that the financing for such projects comes from the capital market. We all remember the federal government loan stocks of the early 70s and 80s. And we also had local governments and state government actively accessing capital through the capital market in the past. But in more recent times, we've seen a shift towards the quicker arm of the financial market, the way I would call it. I think that there needs to be a rethink of that strategy. The advantages that the financing via the capital market offers are so numerous. They are numerous to the to their finance user and also the providers of finance. And the earlier we move towards this government bodies move towards coming to raise financing through the capital market, the better. And we've also seen that the ability to raise financing that are targeted towards specific projects is one that investors love. We've seen it with the sukuk. I mean, one of the reasons why those sukuks were heavily oversubscribed is because investors could see that yes, this financing this money is being raised to finance specific projects that they can see and feel in their lives. All right. So if these government bodies come and say, okay, look, for argument's sake, we are raising financing because we need to put up this shopping complex. We need to fix these roads. We need to put up this power infrastructure within our environment. I mean, clearly, you know, the people will be interested in financing that because there's also an emotional value to it. To such financing, there's an emotional value to it. So what we're saying is that, you know, the time is now, you know, to move towards those sort of finance.
Very, very important thing to note that the time is now to achieve this. And even when you were speaking at that last workshop, you said the market has the absorptive capacity to support a double-digit growth of our economy. You just seen the recent growth of 5.01%. I just want to speak to how you said it, that if you can utilize the market to raise long-term funds to finance the economy, and also that the capital market has been underutilized relative to what it can do. You made the appeal. And you know, when you see value, I think we have to now reduce the appeal. The government and the private sector have even started leveraging the market. They need to see the value more. There's value there. So we have to drop down the appeal and say, come and leverage on the market because it's very important. So can you tell us like 2-3 additional benefits, some milestones, apart from the sukuk, that has shown that yes, the market is there to support the economy and has the absorptive capacity?
I'll give you one anecdotal evidence that I think at least we in Lagos can relate to directly. We all know the Sura market, the popular Sura market. I'm sure we've all passed through that place.
Yeah, yes. If you're in Lagos, you definitely have.
If you are in Lagos.
Yes.
The financing for that market was raised via the capital market by the local government area governance at that time.
That's a municipal bond.
That's a municipal bond. All right.
Yeah.
They raised the financing. It was functional. It didn't fail. And the investors and the bonds got their money back when necessary. They were paid their coupons on a regular basis, and there was no issue. And the market is there today, functioning, viral, creating a community that, you know, is delivering benefits to the populace. Now, that is one example. There are several, you know, other examples here and there, you know, that one can point to in the past. Now we know more of this could happen. I mean, there's, for instance, there are housing shortages all over the place. Yeah. All right, you know, the last statistics I saw, the housing deficit we're talking about is 17 million or thereabouts.
It's still being debated, but around that 17 million, yes.
Thereabout. I mean, so why for instance, the local governments and the state governments not looking towards raising financing, targeted specifically at housing for argument's sake? All right, and this could be packaged in a way that ensures that, you know, the financing coming out from the project could meet the obligations, you know, that will be attached to the finances to be raised. So really, it isn't about appeal. It is about letting the policymakers involved see what is does not appear to be obvious to them at the moment, and letting them see that there is another avenue by which they can achieve what they are looking to achieve for their people without, going into short-term debt that accumulates in a way that is unsustainable. All right, and the advantage of also come and raise financing in the capital market is also the transparency that offers. The transparency it offers to all the stakeholders in the value chain, from the participants to the investors, to the governments, and to the people whose taxes are going to ultimately be used to pay back the financing that is being raised. All right, the capital market offers the sort of transparency that really isn't available, in any other market, because this is a highly regulated market. All right, so, and on the back of that, the transparency builds confidence. The confidence makes, the machine continues to operate efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, you've really laid it out. At this workshop you had last month, the Minister of Finance was there. She shared how it has really helped the federal government and all that. And like you rightly said, housing, states need to really look at opportunities. We've attended, before COVID, the facts behind the presentations of the Ekiti State, and the governor shared the story of how it has leveraged the market. So like you rightly said, transparency, accountability, and governance. So we need to see more sub-nationals, not always the federal government, leveraging the market. Like you rightly said, the local government, the Surad market is an example. So local government, I mean, like Ikurudu, Tiosa, there are several local governments in Nigeria that can leverage the markets just to build that accountability. So definitely we hope to see most of that. And I think we'll encourage colleagues as we count down to election period. Maybe that will be some of the big questions for the contestants. How important is the capital market in supporting the growth of the economy? And let's look at another interesting area, Mr. Amolegbe, which is institutional investors such as pension funds and insurance companies, the reluctance to invest in the market. What's the way forward? I had a recent conversation with a player in the industry, digital pension company, and he said, yes, regulation has improved the industry, pensions. We have about 12.5 trillion worth of assets. But of course, the pension fund needs to explore investments. They've talked about real estate, good, but what about the market? So why are you conversing with the industry players, pension, and also the insurance to create that attractiveness for the market?
Pension fund is a particularly sensitive fund. Obviously, that's people's nest egg. That is their retirement fallback. Yes. So the investment philosophy, yes, and the investment guidelines, yeah, that guides the investment of such funds focuses primarily on safety, and one could understand that, and one could understand the reason why the bulk of the investment is probably targeted towards a particular asset class than maybe other risky asset classes. Yeah. But that does not mean that in an environment such as ours, where inflation is relatively high, you cannot focus too much on being riskless at the detriment of dwindling value of the assets that you're carrying itself. Having said that, what we've seen recently is that the regulator in that space is also aware that there needs to be a balance between safety and returns. I think that what we've done is to now try to tier the funds such that some portion, especially for those investors that are still relatively, for those RSA holders that are still relatively young, a larger portion of those investments will now go into riskier assets, if you will, so that at least they can get the advantage of expansion and growth on their. So I think what we're going to see over time is that more and more of those pension funds will possibly go towards equities and other riskier assets than is presently the case. It used to be that, as you know, they have only one fund, and that fund, had a particular percentage, slated for the equities market. But since they've tiered the funds into different levels now with different characteristics and different investment objective, I think more of that funds, of those pension funds, will ultimately find their way into the equities markets and into the other markets that we have. So fingers crossed there.
Okay, fingers crossed. On the policy side, are there, in like 30 seconds, on the policy side, are there issues that government and market regulators should put in place? They are not being in place already, but they should look at in the attempts to attract more participation in the market. I remember recently, this year, when you had your Hall of Fame, adding Mr. Piton, the managing director of Bank of Industry, you said that beyond his contributions to improving enterprise development in Nigeria, you are looking forward to a partnership where they can bring in growth companies, enterprises to the market that will help to also boost the market. So are there other areas of regulations and policies that will improve activities in the market that can be explored?
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that particular situation regarding the likes of Bank of Industries and specific others of government like that. They have it within them to come up with policies that will encourage companies to want to come to the market to access capital. During his investiture as an honorary fellow of our institute, Mr. Kweton, the managing director of BOI, made a particular policy statement that his bank is going to set up or put in place an arrangement that will give concessional lending rates to companies that commits to listing on our exchanges. Wow. All right, upon receiving finance. I mean, that for me is very significant, because what it means is that ultimately what will not work for our country is a situation where company feels that they must always go to the government or government bodies to go to seek financing, either in terms of intervention fund or the like. No. Companies should be ready to expose after getting the initial capital to help you stabilize and grow your business to an extent. They should be encouraged to be ready to expose themselves to the disciplines of the market. So you come to the market, you raise financing, you are able to show your books to the company, to the public, show your books to investors, and operate in an ethical and in a proper way. All right, but if companies feel that why should I go to the private market to raise capital if I can always go to some government body and get money without really having to be accountable? Net that won't be good for us. But if the companies that take advantage of this kind of proposal from BOI, will ultimately be pushed towards coming to seek additional financing, through the markets, that will generally be a good thing. I mean, also the likes of the companies that the BP has been privatizing,
Yes.
As much as possible, as they are privatizing and commercializing these entities, there should be clauses inserted in their sales agreement that says specifically that within a particular time period, you should seek to share share the benefits of your privatization exercise with the public via the markets.
Yeah.
All right. So we shouldn't have. And we've seen it. We've seen it works, and it's also clear that is the preference of the Nigerian public. That when these hitherto public companies are ultimately sold off, they shouldn't be sold off to just some sets of people. Allow Nigerians in general to benefit from it by bringing them to the market in some form or the other, so that at least they can also get the benefit of their initial investments. And we've seen it. We've seen the likes of NACO have ultimately were privatized. They ultimately got listed, and the investors are benefiting from that. SACO is the same. It was privatized and ultimately got listed. That is exactly what we would like to see. And I'm not privy to the sort of contracts or the kind of arrangements that the discos have, but the likes of the discos and the gencos should ultimately, in say 5-10 years, when they stabilize, should ultimately be listed in the public market.
Yes, Mr. Amolegbe. Even the issues, even the issue around the NNPC with the PIA now, the anticipation is big about the IPO, leveraging the market again. That would be a big game changer.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the prospect for growth in the market is enormous, but it needs to be supported with government policy, no doubt. Without government policy backing, it's going to be pretty difficult. But with the right support from government policy makers, then the market can grow exponentially within a very reasonable time. And this is the reason why we at the institute will continue to take every opportunity at every turn to engage with government policy makers to let them see our thought process and what the benefits will be for the government and for the people at large.
Thank you very much. In the next 10 seconds, can you just tell us about this recent update we got, unveiling of your rule of honor and inauguration of some facilities? Just in 10 seconds, you were making appeal to regulators to support the CIS grants. What's it about?
Yes, thank you for that. As you know, our institute we've been around about 25 years now. After the signing of Act 105 of 1992, and since then, actually, we've been operating from rented office space for the last 25 years. But in the last, I will say, 9 years, effort was started within the institute to try and own our own office building. I'm proud to say that came to reality, I believe, in 2019, via the efforts of our members and the efforts of lots and lots of well-wishers, both corporates and individuals of the institute. We now have the office building at 71 Awolowo Road, 71 Raymond Njoku Street in Ikoyi. We finished the renovation of that building recently, and just yesterday we did the official unveiling of the renovated property. Now, in order to properly thank and honor the people, the corporates and the individuals that made that project possible, because it was a project that had been topmost in our mind for a while, and without the support of those people, it would probably have not come to reality. So, in order to probably honor them, the institute had placed an honor roll in a prominent location within the building, stating the names of the prominent corporates and individuals that assisted in making that our dream a reality. So organizations such as the NGX Group, CSCS, Bank of Industry, Securities and Exchange Commission, our IPS regulator, Stanbic IBTC Group, Meristem Group, lots of corporates came to our support in making this happen, and these are the people that we are honored with their names in the prominent position within the building.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough, showing that the CIS has come of age and of course continues to lead in developing the manpower to drive a viral and vibrant market. Thank you very much, Mr. Olatunde Amolegbe, President of Telling of Stockbrokers, for this interesting conversation. Indeed, there are enormous opportunities for government at all levels and even private companies to leverage the market for, and we hope that we'll see more action, not just from the federal this time, more action from subnationals and local governments to make our economy inclusive for everyone. Thank you once again for the time and hope to have you in subsequent editions.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And that will be all for this edition of the Market Review. If you have questions or comments or suggestions around how the federal government can partner better with stockbrokers to deepen the capital market, send your views, questions, or comments to otoabasido@proshenji.com. Also, if you want to get further updates, analysis, and stories on what's happening in the capital market, log on to our website, www.proshenji.com. On the search bar, click on Capital Market, and you get all the latest updates and developments in the market. We have them all captured for you. Equities, fixed income. We also have the commodities and also the unlisted OTC markets. Don't also forget that we are on social media, so follow our social media platforms displayed on the screen. In this period, you need to stay safe to be alive and, of course, to be conversant with developments around. Till next edition, thank you for watching and have a lovely day.